Hi, my name is TJ. My strong background in health retreats and successful interior design, high-end projects, brings me to the place of being able to share with you on a different level of Tantra and Kahuna and personal development. So the health retreats I entered into after a very successful career in interior design and project coordination, working with the most elite clients. My work was commissioned, no general walk-in traffic. And I was never satisfied with the ordinary, so I began to research the world I was born into, because my home, like many homes, was not a good place to be. It was cruel and empty of connection. This took me on a journey of connecting with people who were actually living the life they loved. I wanted to know how they achieved that. I became a researcher of people's lives. I would not believe blindly. I checked the sources. As I looked around at the average person's lives and the choices they made from the list of options the system set up for us, I knew that we were all being sold lies right from birth. Now I became even more vigilant in my research because, like a lot of people, I got married, had difficulties in the relationship because we had no background of good relationships. There were children involved, and I sought help. I sought help in counselling, and I sought help in psychologists and psychiatry, to see what was the best step for me to take, so that my children and my relationship with my then husband would be healthful and there would be the least pain, because things could not continue as they were. So let's go back to my beginnings. At the age of 2, I remember asking, why am I here? This is what children ask, if you really listen to them. And what is going on around me? I looked around at the adults and how people acted and what they did and what they said. And what they did and what they said seemed to be in conflict. What they were doing did not reflect what they were saying. Now, how I know this is, at one point I was telling my mother about a memory of an event, and she said, "You can't know that. You were just 2 at the time." And that really confirmed my mind, because we all need confirmation. Since that time, I searched for people who also wanted more from their life. On my path, I came across remarkable business people, healers, parents, families, sporting people, leaders, and spiritual teachers. Now, there's very few, because a lot of people claim to be leaders and teachers and healers, and they're not. I took most of the paths, not content to just study. I walked with them. I shared meals with them. And I worked with some of the most amazing aware entrepreneurs on this planet. And 2 of them, namely, Robert Kiyosaki and Tony Robbins, or Anthony Robbins, whichever way you prefer. Tony Robbins actually flew me to his island to be part of his team in Fiji, on Savu Savu, his resort in Namali. And I was privileged to spend time with him. We even went snorkeling, went to church, and he did business on the island, and we did a lot of things on the island, including breakfast, lunch and dinner together. Can you imagine what would go on at the breakfast, lunch and dinner table with Anthony Robbins? Now, I can bring you to that place. So on my way, as I was questioning, I also paid attention to who I am, so I rediscovered my true gift, my ability to connect with the source energy through body work while working at premier health retreats. This approach flowed into my personal development work. I began my journey of questioning life between the ages of 2 and 4. I recall that very clearly, as if it was yesterday. For example, at a funeral, of my family friend, my spirit let out of this overwhelming cry. Is that all there is? Because I saw this woman in an open casket, beautifully made up but dead, ready to be buried into the earth. I didn't ask questions from my parents because I knew I wouldn't have an answer, so I was actually away from them, playing around and looking at what was going on. And my spirit's going, is that all there is? We're born to just do as we're told? Where is my life? Where do I get to look and feel and ask? Just to die without having really lived, to be buried deep into the earth. I want more. This is my life. I cannot believe there's no more than following instructions from humans who have no will of their own. Remember, I am just between 2 and 4. I can't pinpoint that exactly, I'm sorry. So just going along with someone else's idea of how we should live and feel. That to me is slavery. That's incarceration of the worst kind. There are no bars, yet we are not free. Everyone is suffering. Most are not happy, yet they just go along with what someone else has written. Why do they feel they have the right to enforce what they believe onto others? And we walk around scripted. We actually have to repeat what other people have said. Otherwise we're marginalized. Now that's bizarre. You're meant to be the best you can be. That's what the top people, less than 1% of the world, is doing. So more importantly, why did people just go along with it at all, as if they had no will of their own at all? Why were we born? Remember, I'm just around 2 to 3.5, 4 years old. My spirit is eternal. My spirit spoke. It was outraged. I want you to be outraged. It is your life. Now people see the entire world purely from their personal life experiences, as if nothing else exists. But it's not really their personal life, it's someone else's life that's been forced into your life. This is obvious for most people that I come across, regardless of how much they travel or how many people they meet. They don't see what's behind things. Almost as if there's a bubble around us that we see through rather than allow ourselves to embrace as other truths that are absolutely real and available for everybody. Especially these days with the internet and mobile phones and all the access we have to any information and any knowledge. You are the master, and the master always expands into new dimensions. You want to know your coach because you want to know that she has lived enough, that she asks the right questions, that up until now perhaps you have not asked of anyone, including yourself. If you have, then often that question is not followed through to a definable answer that is never satisfied. Because you don't want to be satisfied. There's always more. Like a plant continues to grow every day. It doesn't say, yes, I'm stopped there. Any answer needs to be experienced and followed through to satisfy the soul. It cannot remain a theory. You are the master, and master always expands into new dimensions. Everybody's a master, no matter where you are in life. A master is never bored. A master is forever evolving. Have you ever asked yourself why life is the way it is? I continue to seek and ask questions. My parents were not the kind one could ask. They were abusers, totally unavailable to themselves or each other, let alone to me and my sisters, that both had very difficult childhoods and believed that was normal behavior in all families. My mother still believes that and continues to act in that way and treat me that way. So I've severed all connections. You don't have to stick with anybody. When there is more at stake, it is only then do we question our existence. Next big question came for me during religious instructions. Then there were many others, and this is a good time to give you more of my background. I was born in China. My parents are Russian. We lived in a town that was heavily populated by Russians near Mongolian border. Snow and ice in winter, warm in summer. We had around churches, schools, restaurants, and large community. Chinese had their own schools, Our immediate neighbours were Chinese, so I grew up speaking both languages. And at one point, I actually watched an elderly woman rub her feet. They were tiny. Because in China, they bound the little girl's feet. They actually broke the girl's toes and forced them in tiny little shoes of a 2 or 4-year-old to remain that way for the rest of their lives. That they considered sexy. Now that's bizarre, isn't it? The entire country took that on and did it to their own little girls, which promised them a better life and a better marriage. And we still have that attitude with everything. We don't check, we just break things to conforms. Okay. Now, we were sponsored out to Australia at one point. I recall getting the news. This man walked through blizzard and snow deep, or snow knee deep, I beg your pardon, to deliver the letter because we had moved. He had read the letter and was so excited that he wanted to see us right away and not wait till the blizzard was over. And we were excited. Otherwise we were going to Brazil because we were asked to leave China. When he arrived with the news, we grabbed his hands and danced around in a circle, round and round and round, just laughing and giggling and so excited to be leaving. If it was not for him, we would not be here. Right now I feel deep gratitude for the man, and I wonder where he ended up. Now in Australia, I attended Russian school